When we look at the scope, width, depths, heights, profundities of this wonderful journey called the integral yoga, above all the goal, it seems near impossible for any human being to undertake this journey. But if we look at the method, then it seems the easiest form of yoga that has ever appeared upon earth. In fact, every time the divine comes on earth and gives us a yoga, he wants to make things simpler and easier, not more and more complicated. There is no mind creates complications. So we see, at least in the lineage of the avatars, if you have to follow the way of Rama, not easy. My parents had a Vanvasi Ram in their house, and everybody used to say, he went to forest for 14 years, fought all the Rakshasas, not easy to follow the way of Rama. Shiva, ascetic par excellence. Krishna, Kurukshetra. Even to dance is not easy with Krishna, to keep his steps. We'll go off step at the very first step. And now Sri Aurobindo comes with even more stupendous goal. Not just a sattvic change of human nature, not some saintliness, not even moksha, not even Jivan Mukti, which is what Shri Krishna gives to us, but a complete and radical transformation of human nature, divinization of this clay. Sir, what is the method? That's what Nirodha asked him. Give us the central secret of your yoga. We don't have time to read the synthesis of yoga and big books. Give us one method. Even mother was asked, give us one method. Very identical thing. When Sri Aurobindo was asked, what is the secret of your yoga? So Sri Aurobindo said something very simple, interesting. He said, to remain psychically open to the mother. In fact, he said there are two secrets of the yoga. First is to remain, the central secret, the first secret is to remain psychically open to the mother. He left the letter at that. So Nirodha asked him, what is the second secret? He didn't, as if it's not necessary. He said, second secret is to aspire for the divine life. Because one can remain open to the mother just to look after children, look after family and everything. Nothing wrong in praying to the mother for that. But to aspire for the divine life, because the fact is, why Sri Aurobindo is insisting on aspire for the divine life? Why is he not just saying that whatever you ask, you will get all these boons? Well, we will get that. But he wants to give us a permanent solution for a perennial problem. So when we are children, we are told if you have this, your problem will be sorted out. You'll get a job, study, you'll be very fine. We study, we get a job. Then we are told if you get married. So no child ever asks his parents, sir, are your problems sorted out after getting married? Otherwise we'll get the, sir, oh, it's all, you have to get married. So you get married. Then you have children. Now my problems will be sorted out. Especially when children go abroad. And then you realize that we didn't even know what is the problem of life. Problem of life is that we are a plaything of millions of forces. There is a whole occult commerce going on all the time in this creation. And we are just like patram, vessels through which forces come, move. They move us in the process and then they go to their own. It's like we have become a scene for the entertainment of forces which move us from behind. Like we watch the television show, they watch us. They move us, we get angry, we fight, quarrel. After some time we are exhausted. So these forces say that, oh, now no fun. They will go to another home, another place they will trigger. After some time they'll come back to our home. So like that it keeps on going on. It's important to understand it because when Sri Aurobindo says open to the mother, there can be a question, very valid question. After all, everything is mother. This is the great teaching. Everything is divine. At its, this is a highest truth. Misapplication of highest truth, humanity has suffered much more due to misapplication of truths. So, all is the divine is the highest truth. Isn't it that behind everything it is the Divine Mother? There is only one power in this cosmos, the Divine Mother. All other powers are subordinate, secondary. So, why are we asked to open to the Divine Mother? Is it not stating something which is obvious? So, Sri Aurobindo explains this beautifully. It's true that there is only one divine, and in all creation there is nothing else but Him. All here that seems to be its lonely self are figures of the sole transcendent one. There are two who are one and play in many worlds. In knowledge and ignorance they have spoken and met. The Ishvara and Shakti, here as Purusha and Prakriti. That this the whole play is about that. So then what is this about opening to the Divine Mother? It's the same thing that in this play is in two stages. One stage is what we can call as the shadow play. The real game has not begun. You know, cricketers, before they go for the test match, they do practice sessions. Now this, thus far, what we have been doing or have been made to do is the practice session. This is to develop in us certain elements, certain capacities, certain qualities, attitudes, so that we can go for the real play. That real play has begun now. That real play was always intended to be like this. As Sri Aurobindo, there is a very beautiful poem called Cosmic Dance. And there he says that, you know, always we hear Kali's feet. Krishna and Kali are dancing. Radha is in Vrindavan, sitting quietly. World is not yet ready for that dance of Radha and Krishna. The dance of rhythm, beauty, grace. The world should be like that. Everything should be beautiful. There should be no discordant notes. But till now, we are like the musician when they do a, you know, expert musicians. They do the alap. And if we don't have patience, then we will see alap is going on. 2 hours, and people will ask, is this all? When will the music begin? So what will the experts tell us? Wait. It is only the tuning of the instrument. The real music will begin now. And when the real music begins, heads and hearts and bodies, everything are dancing in ecstasy. So, thus far, it's a preparation. All the difficulties, challenges of life, problems for which solution we are looking are really speaking preparations for the real, not even solution. We can't even use the word solution because we didn't understand that this life is not a problem but a becoming, great unfolding of the divine. And the only solution is, if we want to put it like that, is to go beyond the level at which the challenge is taking place. In the sense, when we are having the fight, then if you get engaged into the fight, it blows up more and more. So first is to discover that poise where we can be at peace, where we can be in a state of joy, where we can be in a position of strength, regardless of anything. So in this world, there are 2 levels at which we play the game. One is where there is the movement of what is called as the lower nature. Lower nature is, by its nature, it creates divisions between people, between everything. Our whole, when we look at things on the surface, everything seems different. So it's the play of the lower nature. Division creates the sense of me and not me, and then there is a fight, quarrel, all things. Then the ego comes in, crystallizes around what I know as myself. People fight till the end for what they call as myself. And in the end, we know the fate. This is one kind of play. And if we keep on playing this game, it will keep on bringing suffering and pain, which is a grace, because it reminds us that this is a limited play, this is not the best play, it is not the perfect play. Because if we keep on playing here, pain is the grace, hammer of the gods to remind us, look here, this is not the perfect way to play. Learn the right way. But behind this lower nature, there is a great deep wisdom, a profound vastness, intelligence, beyond what any intelligence can compare. Behind all this strength and weakness, there is the supreme strength, the ultimate power, absolute power, the peace that can remain undisturbed in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Peace in the storm, calm, supernal rest, supreme state of blessedness, call it whatever, words fall short. And it is behind, hidden by the veils of this lower nature. We think it is real, but there is a greater reality which we are called to ascend. That's how Kena Upanishad puts it. Kena Upanishad says that reality takes place at 3 levels. One is this surface reality. And it says don't get too much engaged with it, because this will falsify our perceptions, vision, understanding, everything. And what is this play? Mind and senses. All the time, impact of the senses, mind, desires moving us, ego play. Ascend beyond it. There is a greater play awaiting our discovery. So that's Kena Upanishad, wonderful, but not to go into that. So that greater play, that greater power, that greater possibility, divine possibility, how to activate it in our life, how to touch that possibility. Because all around is shadow. We may not realize it because it looks very wonderful. Well, if you have, 10,000 million lights, stars at night, with the moon and all the lights in home, it doesn't compare to a single sun. When the sun rises, there is no comparison. So this surface life of man may be full of all kinds of glitters and glamour. But this is not the real thing. The real thing waits for us. And the mother stands for that higher possibility. This too is mother, but the divine mother in veiled form. Like in Indian mythology, we have Gauri and Kali. Kali is Gauri, who plunges into darkness. All the Asuras and Rakshasas, she plunges into that. But above on the peaks is Gauri, the resplendent divine mother. So it is her whom we have to come in touch with. Then only our nature can undergo the needed change. But how to touch her? Very difficult. So many layers, so many deceptions in this cosmic play. If we get caught, we will not even know what is really right, what is wrong. Even a great yogi like Arjuna was confused. What should I do? What should I not do? And Shri Krishna tells him one by one. He says, Keshava, you are confusing me. Tell me clearly. On one side you are saying, Tyag is better and sannyas is good. Now you are asking me to fight the war. On one side you are telling me jnana is very good. Now you are asking me to do ghora karma. What are you trying to say? So he says, first you get the right understanding, right knowledge, right strength, then act in this world. We have to be in the world and act in the world. But first we must have the vision. See, very often when we hear this mighty phrase of Sri Aurobindo, all life is yoga. So we think automatically whatever we do is yoga. Whatever we do is a subconscious yoga when we do it subconsciously, mechanically, unconsciously. When we do it consciously, then it becomes yoga. How to touch the mighty mother, stark awake. We cannot even imagine who she is, what that splendor of splendors is. Sri Aurobindo describes in Savitri, the whole world lives in a single ray of her sun. Even the sages and saints cannot comprehend her, because still the human limits the divine. It's difficult. Even sages and saints cannot behold understand her ways. That's why they say Leela. Cannot understand. We try to have theories, bad karma, good karma, but in the end, you say Leela. Because you cannot understand what's happening. One cannot comprehend. 1,000 icons they have made of her, but she remains herself and infinite. Human mind cannot grasp. So, what is the solution? The solution is what we see in the not the conception or idea, but the truth of avatar. The divine becomes human. It's difficult for human to become divine, so divine becomes human. Is human portion, we must grow divine. Our life is a paradox with God for key. Now the whole saga of Mother and Sri Aurobindo can be understood, best understood as the divine become human. And when the divine becomes human, assumes a human body, a human cloak, three things happen. One, because he takes the same body like ours, there is a direct action on matter. And because all matter is one, in the, science will tell us it's one substance. If it touches within his body, it touches every other body in some way or the other. When the mother was going through this physical transformation, difficult even to comprehend, and the disciple asked the mother, Mother, it's so difficult. You are going through so much pain, battle with the inconscient. How are we supposed to do it? We don't even understand what is cells. I mean, we have read in biology. Mother says, but my child, who is asking you to do it? Who is asking you to do it? Mother, then what should we do? She says, you open to me. The yoga will be done for you. Mother's words. They are not sentiments. She knows the difficulty. Second thing she says, very interesting, when the disciple insists, give us one method. Everybody asks, wherever we go, what is the method of this yoga? They ask, some asanas you tell us. So we say only there is one asana we know. And that asana is Pad Sirsha Asana. Never heard of it, no? Pad Sirsha Asana is, Pad is the Divine Mother's feet. Sirs is our Sirs, our head. When we put our head on our feet, this is the only asana. Teach us one pranayam method. The one pranayam is what the gopi is told when Uddhav comes and tells them, this is not the way to worship Krishna like mad people. You people are mad. You know he is Parbrahma. So they ask, what should we do? Do pranayam. So the gopis tell him something very interesting. They say, okay, but we have one prana, we have given it to Krishna. Where do we get prana to do pranayam? What is pranayam? It is restraining the gati of prana through a mechanical method. But when we offer this prana, all the movements of life to her, automatically we are doing the ultimate pranayam that is possible. Instead of doing it mechanically, we are doing it spiritually. Even when we take her name through the movement of breath, it is the highest pranayam that one can ever imagine. What about meditation? People ask, some meditation, please tell her. Meditation for us means to think of the mother, to go within, to come in contact with her, but outside also, to learn to see her behind everything. So the disciples still ask, Mother, but one method you must tell us, please. She says, you want a method? Yes, Mother. So she says, a method. It is to just do japa, just call her name. When some people went to Sri Aurobindo and asked, what is the mantra in this yoga? Everywhere you have initiation. So Sri Aurobindo says, initiation means here opening to the mother. That is initiation. If you can open, you are initiated. Sir, how do we make out that somebody is doing Purna Yoga or not doing Purna Yoga? Just now Shiv Kumar ji was asking, are people in ashram different? No, sir. People are people. Wherever they are, But wherever there is somebody open to the mother, that place is ashram. These are not my words. 1958, mother's words. For reference, I can tell you. She said, after the supramental manifestation, wherever there is a devotee, a disciple connected to Sri Aurobindo's teaching, they have become a single unit. So the ashram is no more in a geographical boundary. These are her words. This does not mean we don't go to Samadhi. This is a great joy, and Sri Aurobindo, why won't we go? But we must understand the difference. The yoga is not confined to the ashram. Let me go one step further. One may go to ashram and not do the yoga. One may stay far and do the yoga. What is needed? What is the secret? How do we know? Because if you go to ashram, you will not find anybody wearing a particular dress, talking in a certain way. Nothing. You can't even know who is doing the yoga or not doing the yoga. So Sri Aurobindo says one sentence. All who are turned to the mother are doing this yoga. Again, Sri Aurobindo's words. All who are turned to the mother are doing this yoga. How to turn to the mother? Now the secret is, divine has become human. He is working on matter. Even if not a single person recognizes, still she will do the work on matter and leave matter vibrating with the touch of the divine. All this mother has revealed in her conversations, and that's a different subject altogether, the work of the divine avatar. Even if there was no devotee, nobody knew, still by the fact that divine will take a human body has received the touch, all who will come henceforth, they will find their bodies being upgraded. This is a different part of the story altogether. But this is something which we can do consciously. That's why we see many persons now today, I don't know, my experience with children and all this is that something is happening which is really unprecedented. We may not understand it, but it is like a new something emerging out of the old, very difficult to understand by the human mind. But this is happening all over, within us, around us, all over the world. Every event seems to be converging towards one, exposing all our falsehoods, international dealings of falsehoods, national falsehoods, individual falsehoods, at the same time action of truth, opening us to something greater. Now that's again a vast area. But just what we can do consciously, divine has touched and he will do. What we can do, is there something we can do? Yes, we can turn to the mother. It's a wonderful word. Turn to the mother, and just thinking about it makes it so wonderful. So there is this, the image that comes to me is there is this little patram, and it is raining, pouring, and the patram puts itself like this. After half an hour it says, no, nothing came inside. Sir, you have to turn it up. Anybody will tell. You are turning it the wrong way. So our consciousness may be turned towards lower nature and desires and its pursuits. Sri Ramakrishna used to say something very interesting. There are people like vultures who are flying, but their eyes are on that piece of meat down below. So turn to the mother, it implies we have to turn away from these lower, lesser satisfactions in which we are entangled, which we think ultimate and everything, till pain, the great teacher, and grace comes to remind us, no. And turn it towards her. So first it means keep the vessel towards her. How do we turn towards her? Instead of thinking of all the desires that are going to satisfy, think of mother. Instead of thinking, oh, my child, my husband, my wife, my so-and-so, all of that. Think only of mother. So mind turns towards mother. Instead of our hearts getting entangled with 101 strings, the Upanishad says, our heart is tied with 100 strings with the world. So when there is this death taking place, there is pain. Why? Because 100. We multiply it to 1000. 100 is the original. And so they have to be cut asunder. It's a very painful thing. And when mother was asked that how then we can have a pain-free death, she said, by detachment. Because these strings, when there is this pull, there is pain. If you are detached and go one step further, attached to the mother, instead of being attached to 100 things, it doesn't mean that we will start shunning people, not meet them. No. We will be with everybody. In fact, we will meet with them in a better way. Because attachment brings a very false relation with the world. It brings in expectation, which sooner or later is going to be hurt. It is one of those axiomatic truths. Attachment will bring expectations. Expectations will bring pain. It can be written and in golden letters and inscribed. Of course, we will say, no, this attachment will not bring me pain. Wait. Wait for some time. But attachment to the divine will turn all our expectation towards the divine, who alone can fulfill all that we are expecting from people. The mother gives a beautiful formula of human love. She says, for all your expectations of love, turn toward the mother, receive from her. Then what do we do with what we have received? Give it to the world selflessly, without expectation. Often people say love without expectation. It is not possible till one has opened to the divine. Then we are receiving. Then it doesn't matter. We'll keep on giving, radiating, because we are receiving from the source. So when our heart, its feelings, turn towards the Divine Mother. I was so immersed when Didi was singing the song, and for a moment she was so much filled with bhava that the words, that is the state. It's not about a technique, but to be so whelmed with love, bhakti, what does it matter? The divine knows the words he will put in. He is not a slave of words. He knows the bhava inside and he takes rasa. At one place, Aurobindo says, there is nothing denied to the God lover because he is the very self of the beloved. Very often people say, oh, this looks very nice, but we have real life. Excuse me, that's a real life. Everything that we need will be taken care of. And what is taken away, know it that it was harmful. Poison. With that trust be open to the divine. Not with, how do we close the patram? When we become narrow. You see, there are vessels which are very narrow. They're big vessels. But very narrow opening. You've seen those vessels? Now, when you have a very narrow opening, vessel is very big, but the opening is very narrow, so very difficult to fill it. So opening should be wide. What is meant by narrow opening? Every time we shut ourselves in the ego working mode. What is the ego working mode? Oh, why you didn't do this? Complaining, grumbling. Have you seen how ego? Or very pleasure and pain and all the time complaining. Relating to the divine, but with a complaining mode. There are some people who are always complaining and grumbling. Mother says, when you complain and grumble, adverse forces come. So they start making the opening smaller and smaller. And at one time, they cover it up. So even though there is an opening, it is covered up. Instead, what we should do? We should surrender and have faith. And surrender is the most logical thing and the most natural thing. Why logical? If the divine wisdom cannot guide us, then who will guide us? My little wisdom? It is foolish. So surrender implies that I trust you completely. Take my life in your hands. Do with it what you want to do with it. And this should be a sincere resolve. Things will happen which may not be to our liking. Endure with faith. I have given it to her. She knows what is best. Surrender means this. Why it is the most natural thing? From womb to tomb, there is nothing else but surrender. A baby in the womb has unconsciously surrendered. If it starts thinking, my God, what is my state, how I will form, what will Mother Nature say? You don't worry, you enjoy, I will do it for you. When the baby comes out, isn't the first act of a child the act of surrender in the hands of mother? Child doesn't know what's happening and it cries. But for every cry of the child, the mother knows what this cry means. This cry is because the baby needs cleaning, this cry is because of hunger, this cry is because of temperature. Mother knows, fathers don't, sorry. But I'm a father. Mothers know what it means. Father will give logic, analysis. Maybe this, maybe. Mother says, you don't, you just stay. I know what is to be done. So the Divine Mother knows every cry. And she will give us what is really needed. Have you seen babies sometimes are crying, getting cranky? And they say, I want this, I want that. Mothers know basically the child is hungry. And after eating, the child becomes quiet. Hasn't it? Common experience. But baby doesn't understand. Baby thinks if I get this, I'll be happy. Because of this, I am unhappy. But all that the baby needs is that he's hungry. Hungry for food? No, hungry for mother's love. That's why no human love can ever satisfy, because we are hungry for mother's love. So, when we are surrendered, then this opening becomes wide and wide. First surrender is central surrender, that my life is yours, my destiny is yours. It's the easiest thing to do. And with the child, you see at every step, even today, for example, we all knew that 6 o'clock we are meeting, everything was fixed. How did we know it? We have faith, it will happen unconsciously. So whole life we live by that. The difference is, and that I'll tell as a small little story. During a Mumbai lecture, some child told his father, Dad, please come and see. Now in every home you have some Nachiketa. Dad, please come and attend. Nice lecture. Big man, some political connections. So first day, second day, third day, fourth day he didn't come. Fifth day he came because child is pestering. So apologetically he tells the speaker, my child was appreciating so much, he wanted me to come, but yesterday I had this meeting, day before this, third day I had to take my wife somewhere, fourth day something. But you were talking about surrender. Then he asked the speaker, but sir, what is surrender? I don't understand. So the speaker says, all 4 days you surrendered, but to different people. Sometimes to your desires, sometimes to your near and dear one's desires. Did you ever feel inside what is your true will? There's a difference between desire and will. So did you know it when you understand surrender? You were surrendering. We are surrendering all the time. There is a very nice one-liner of the mother which gave me a solution. It's to some problem, and it summarizes in the sense, of course you can't summarize Gita like that, but in a sense it summarizes one of the key points of Gita. Doesn't it happen sometimes in life that I want to do something which I think I should do, and then I think no, somebody else expects me to do this, and we are caught between the two. And the mother gives a very beautiful remedy. She says, my child, we are not here to please ourselves. Okay, so I should do according to others. My child, we are not here to please others. So, we are here to please the divine. What does the divine want and expect of us? When we do that, we open. This is what is psychically open to the mother. Mentally open, all these other parts also open, but psychically open. Psychic knows that whatever the Divine Mother will do, that is good. I must obey her will in me, her impulsion. But how to receive her will? How to obey that impulsion? You have to be very, very quiet inside. It's not about outer noise and all. That's not so important. In the beginning, it is important perhaps because otherwise we cannot really sit and go inside. But after some time, a zone of peace develops in us. We can ask Mother, first thing, instead of 100 things, Mother, give me your peace. She says, in peace and silence, the eternal manifests. Allow nothing to disturb you, and the eternal will manifest. What is work for the mother? Manifestation of the divine. We just become channels. How do we become a channel? When we are undisturbed. In yoga, it is called equanimity. So, equanimity and peace. Basis of equanimity is divine knows what is best for me. Maybe for a moment it will touch me outwardly, but I should know this is not the real. It's a temporary thing. And wait. It will pass away. Many things, most things in life will pass away. This is the basis of equanimity. Surface life, it may touch it for a momentarily because outer consciousness doesn't easily open to the divine. But inwardly one must know that I am secure in Mother. No power can slay my soul, it lives in thee. Thy presence is my immortality. That's our security. That is our guarantee. And when we live life like that, it becomes wonderful. So, our motives should turn towards neither pleasing myself nor others, but to please the divine. Now, how to please the divine means we have to try to know what is the divine will wanting in me. We are all, Champak Lalji once, wonderful thing he asked the mother. He says, after so many years, we all know, of course, his story. After many, not years, decades, he prays to the mother, Mother, so far I have served you according to what I thought is best. Now I want to serve you according to what you think is best. See? And that means getting rid of all these mental ideas, conceptions, opinions, even about, divine, the service. Ramayana, we see this, Lakshmana and Bharat are two brothers. Both served Rama. Whose service is greater? Difficult to say. Lakshmana stands by his side in the battlefield. Bharat takes care of the kingdom as a trustee till Rama comes back. That's why in Ramayana, there are two episodes where Rama expresses his love for his brothers. One is when Lakshmana is hit by Shakti. And another which is immortalized, and very often as a child I used to watch the plays. When Rama comes and meets Bharat, it's called Bharat Milap. He is overwhelmed. Not because he was missing him. That is a different story. Look at his surrender, his seva. He didn't say, I want to go. He said, I'll stay in the kingdom and serve you. So this idea, some people ask, do I have to be in the ashram to serve the mother? We have to see inside. Where mother wants me to be, there I should be. She will reach out. She knows how to reach out. You see, this devotee was British man, I forget his original name. Later mother had named him Medhananda, the bliss of the mind. So this devotee was in a place, he was not a devotee, he was in a place called Tahiti, enjoying life in whatever way. And suddenly one day, somebody came, a ship came and somebody came and met him and casually handed him over this book, the mother, left it with him and went away. That book changed his life. Mother reached him wherever he is. If we have the call and the sincerity, she will come wherever we are. It may be here, it may be elsewhere, it may be in the ashram, doesn't matter. That is a different arrangement. That divine knows what is meant. But wherever I may be, how you want me to be, to do it as a service to the Lord, to the mother. It may be the smallest of things. Cooking. See, cooking, common act. And how much pain it causes when the lady puts all her heart into cooking. And people are busy eating while watching television. Don't even say a word. Or sometimes they say salt was less or more. But imagine if she has cooked for the Divine Mother. What is that now? It's not cooking, it is prasad. Prasadam. And Divine Mother had it. How does it matter? Human being doesn't appreciate. It is prasadam. Just imagine the change that takes place when our life is lived as a state of offering to the divine. It changes the perspective. We may get things, we may not get. That's different. Life will always bring things of all kinds to everybody. It may bring things which we felt is good, things which may not look pleasant. It's okay. That's life. We must understand. No, don't start, mother is sending me this, mother wants me to be pained, mother is testing me, mother doesn't do any of these things. If the divine were to test people and judge them, nobody will be able to stand. Divine doesn't indulge in that kind of game. There are cosmic powers that do it, but the mother is not a cosmic power. She is grace incarnate. She comes to cancel it. If we take it like there are powers that test us and we are in the examination hall, then mother is not the invigilator and not the tester. She is our friend quietly by our side telling us, look, this is the right answer. And still if we don't listen, when the paper goes to the cosmic agencies and they judge, and they say, this fellow cannot pass, she comes and says, give him grace marks. My child. So she is the super, so, okay sir, if you are saying so. Nothing is an exaggeration. These are facts. Mother has said that divine grace can completely wipe off karma. And then of course the very body. What is the usefulness of body except being an instrument of the divine? The purpose for which the human body is there to be an instrument of the divine. And how it can become an instrument? Everything. When we speak of the mother, when the brain thinks of the mother, one of the simplest ways to become an instrument of the divine without anybody giving any work is to every day read a passage from Savitri and Prayers and Meditation or any book and write it. So how it makes the body an instrument? Very simple. When we read, the eyes are involved, body. Brain is involved, body. Nervous system is involved, body. Hands are involved, body. And we are writing. When we read it aloud, ears are also involved. See how many faculties are involved? When we bow down to the mother physically, some people say it's not needed, all inside. No sir, body must also have the joy of surrender, no? We know it is inside. Don't teach us that. But when we bow down physically, the body gets the joy. Otherwise everything is happening inside. That's why we go to the samadhi and bow down. Of course, Sri Aurobindo and the mother are inside us. But they are, when we bow down outwardly, the body feels the joy. Physical yoga. Every time the body is involved in the yogic process, yogic by yoga means going near to the divine. The body is opening to the divine force. See, in olden times means maybe 40 years back, in the ashram when you went, there used to be a long queue for darshan. Now, of course, there is token system, including 24th April. So, Sri Aurobindo's room will open. I am sure everybody knows this. And there is a token system. So, in token system, you don't have to wait. Maybe half an hour, maximum 1 hour. But when you had this long queue, sometimes 3 hours, 4 hours, we have waited like that, I'm sure. So, on one side, this is good. You have token system smooth. People don't have to wait much. They can plan it. On the other hand, when you are waiting, what are you waiting for? The darshan of the Lord. Now you see the meter starts. The body has started participating. It goes all the way. It walks all the way. Every step, there is a saying in the Mahabharata. Draupadi says, every step we take to reach to the Lord gives us the result of 100 Ashwamedh Yagyas. So every time we walk to the Lord and we bow down, all this is the bodily yagya. It is not to be taken as simply a mechanical act. We can do it mechanically, but we should do it consciously. May this entire body surrender to you. May every cell, every organ, and very consciously we can do. The hand should not do anything, which is, it should be driven by the impulsion of the divine. My mouth should not speak anything which is not in tune with the divine will. That's what she says on education, psychic education. Before you do anything, step back and see whether this action, this word is going to help in the divine manifestation or harm. So all this is part of the bodily yagya and opening the body to the divine. So when we lead life like this, then everything opens. But there is one thing which remains even after it opens. The Vedic yogas spoke of it. Mother and Aurobindo say it in its own way. See, a vessel is now fully opened. It is turned toward the divine. But the divine force is, super Niagara. So those who have gone to Niagara Fall know it's tremendous, or any fall, it's tremendous. Put a small little half-baked clay pot. What will happen? Probably with the clay pot, we will be flown away. Or it may break. So the vessel has to be made ready. How do we make any vessel ready? From a half-baked clay, we bake it. Baking needs fire. And this fire is tapasya. And this tapasya is about aspiration. Through aspiration, we not only open our body, mind, heart, it starts becoming ready to receive the divine. That's why the divine takes long, because if he comes suddenly, it's like a tremendous lightning strike. So initially he sends a little bit, one drop here, oh nice experience, oh I felt very nice, all these little drops, trickles. Through the trickles, he prepares us. After the trickle, drop by drop, then the tap opens. Showers come, tap opens. Then there are cascades. And if the body and mind can still contain it, then there is the complete Ganga Avataran. Because then one is ready to receive. That's why we see in Ganga Avataran story, there are 3 generations that they do the tapasya. So this tapasya is nothing to do with sitting in a forest with a kamandalu and a dand. That was okay at one point of time, because dand is very helpful, to keep away all the animals. But we need one dand, Danda, what is it called in Tamil? This staff which you carry. And that staff is the staff of faith. Always we should sit with the staff of faith. And then we need the lamp to keep away animals from coming. And that lamp is the light of aspiration. And then true meaning of tapasya is, Aurobindo says, concentrated energy of spiritual endeavor. All the time we are letting our energies go wasted in 100 things. To concentrate it, turning it towards the spiritual goal. Spiritual goal is, one may meditate and yet have an egoistic goal. That is the difference. Asuras are doing such meditation, no? After 1000 years, what did Ravana ask at the end? Hiranyakashipu asked something which Prahlad knew. Prahlad had done no tapasya. He only said, Hari, 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 Hari. That's it. What was the difference? Somebody would say divine is very unfair. Look at Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. So much tapasya they did. But all for wrong ends. All to aggrandize the ego. Ego is the real thing which closes us. If the name of the divine opens us, ego closes us. Desire puts a strong seal. And therefore we don't receive the divine grace, which is everywhere with everybody around. Every creature it is there. It never leaves anyone. But we human beings close our doors through all these net of thoughts, opinions, viewpoints, ideas, God knows, as if we are the real knowers. God will say, you know everything, what is there for me to teach you? Once story of Sri Aurobindo when he was sitting in the guest house and in Pondicherry, when he had first come, after Shankar Chettiar and couple of houses, he went what is known today as guest house in the playground. So there used to be a yogi or a sadhu. He used to go all the way from Tiruvannamalai to Pondicherry, circumambulating. Like this, he would get up again. So people thought he is mad or sadhu. One day he suddenly entered and went running up to Sri Aurobindo's. He was sitting on the table, on the chair with the table in front with a cup of tea, and he went and just put it like this and ran away. And Sri Aurobindo just smiled, he didn't say anything. And he says he was inspired by the Divine Mother to give a key. So much he had received. Sri Aurobindo what he has given us is 10% in Sri Aurobindo's own words. But everything he emptied. And then the Divine Mother arrived. So this is how, if we are so full of the pride and arrogance of knowledge, because we have read newspapers or WhatsApp University, nowadays everybody has a PhD in WhatsApp University. Where is the scope of the divine knowledge? Therefore, humility is required to open to the grace. Humility means, okay, I have read all this, I have my view, lekin I really don't know what is true. That humility opens the doors to the divine knowledge. See, that's what happens to Arjuna. He is also well read. But at the end he says, I don't know what I should do. You teach me. Shishyasteham sadhimam. I give myself to you. I become your disciple. Disciple means I don't know. I may seem to know. People may think I am a great professor. I am a university's triple MA, 4 times PhD from best university in the world. But for the divine, it doesn't matter. Who was Sri Ramakrishna? 6th standard. But look at his knowledge. Vidya Sagar would go and bow to him. And Sri Ramakrishna once, half laughing, said, oh, the ocean has come to a little stream, Vidya Sagar. Ishwar Chandra Vidya Sagar. He says, however little a stream may be, but when it is filled with the ocean, then it is no more a stream. And Sri Aurobindo says that he was so full of this intuitive knowledge. Where did it come from? He had not read the scriptures. And yet he was the scripture. Living scripture. So humility opens us to the divine. If we are not humble, then humble means before the divine. Nothing to do with human beings. Oh sir, I am so small. No, that is a show of humility. Divine is not impressed by our shows. But when we stand before the divine like a blank page, like a little baby, Mother, without you, I can do nothing. I know nothing. I am nothing. But with you, you are the light of my intelligence, the life of my life, the goal, the source, the path, everything. To you, I give myself with completest submission. When we do this, then miracle happens, the supreme miracle. Supreme miracle is not wish fulfillment. Supreme miracle is the fulfillment of the one divine will which wants to divinize us. Beautiful lines from Savitri with which we can close. A prayer, a master act, a king idea. We can pick up our own king idea. Serving the divine. Divinization of clay, it doesn't matter. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. It's our own king idea. A prayer from the heart, not a mechanical thing. Master act. Okay, I give myself to the divine, doesn't matter. A prayer, a master act, a king idea, can link man's strength to the transcendent force. Then miracle is made the common rule. One lonely thought becomes omnipotent. Then our life undergoes the needed and destined change. Sooner we move towards it, the better it is. So, to summarize, instead of right now we are caught in a net of lower forces, which is a game of desires and ego to delay the master plan. So, we have to refuse persistently. They will come, they are not going to leave so easily. They will come. We have to persistently say no to them and say yes to the Divine Mother, who is the divine become human, so that she can give us what is needed. One last thing, not to the force but to the mother. Force is understood. And this subtle distinction is important. Not only to the world mother as the Divine Mother, but this human form, this is also important. Shobinda has clarified all this. And this is the reason for it. This form she has taken to manifest the supramental creation. Otherwise, she is working everywhere. She is not limited. She is every universal mother of all. But the form she has taken for the supramental manifestation, new creation, is this. And it is through this that we approach her. We should not start creating a division. Oh, Divine Mother means everywhere. Everything is Divine Mother. It's true. But for the purposes of supramental manifestation, new creation, it is through this form. There is a reason why the divine takes a form and assumes a name, that we approach her, open to her very simply by saying Ma, 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 Amma, Amma, Amma. Namaste. Okay. Thank you so much.